Former police crime intelligence boss Richard Mfluli has come out guns blazing against journalist Jacques Pauw. This after Pauw made allegations against Mfluli in his book, The President's Keeper. Speaking to ANN7, Mfluli dismisses the book's contents about him as blue lies. He has vowed to come after Pauw through legal action over his portrayal in the book. Mfluli has been on suspension on full pay for the last 6 years. This is for charges relating to the 1999 murder of Obara Mokhiba, Mfluli's ex-girlfriend's husband.
Did you inherit some of these enemies from your time at the African Police Force?
They are fighting this issue of, I once arrested Mr. Gerenel. That's the whole issue about them. I worked with my white colleagues in the Southern Police Service. If you touch one, all of them, they come for you, majority of them. There are those who with a paradigm shift in terms of their mentality. But there are still those who think in terms of the old apartheid era. If you touch one, they say, no, this one, we won't rest until we get him. And that's what they're trying with me. And you could see that if really there was a case, I would have long been sometimes in prison or fine and all that. They keep on postponing and doing this and going to court and prolonging it, and they're just pushing time. They said, no, man, there will be time when this guy will retire. Then when that time comes, he will retire, and then sometime we can finalize. Jake Pauw is kind of a man who can lie about a person if he hates him. He is lying to just impress his surrogates and all these people who have told him lies. He don't even verify them. He just come and write a book without verifying whether this thing he's writing is true or false. He just throw people's names in the mud, which is wrong. This is a democratic country, and everyone has got a right.
Pauw's book, The President's Keeper, has been severely criticized. President Zuma dismisses the claim of having received money from businessman Roy Moodley. Roy Moodley also dismisses the claims and reserves detailed comment. The receiver of revenue has distanced itself from information published in Pauw's book. Minister of Energy and former State Security Minister David Mahlobo dismisses claims made around the intelligence apparatus as fictitious. But Jacques Pauw has responded to Richard Mfluli's comments. Pauw says, and I quote, "My book does not state that he oversaw a probe into the president. I do not know what he's talking about." Is this the best he can come up with in trying to discredit the book? What does he mean by saying I'm trying to please certain surrogates? I'm sorry, but I do not understand this. Mfluli is currently standing trial on a host of criminal charges in the South Gauteng High Court. There is also a host of fraud and corruption charges against him. Mfluli has been fingered as complicit in looting the Crime Intelligence Secret Fund by several police investigations and reports. He is unfit to be a policeman and a disgrace to the force. And to watch the full interview, tune in to ANN7 today at 6 p.m. The show is called Straight Talk with Sfiso Mahlang. EFF leader Julius Malema says that white monopoly capital exists and that the concept should not be dismissed simply because Bell Pottinger misused it. Malema was speaking at the Daily Mavericks The Gathering held in Sandton. In addressing delegates at the meeting, Malema says white monopoly capital exists in the banking, mining and property sectors in South Africa. The firebrand leader believes that the now disgraced PR firm Bell Pottinger had hijacked the term, but that does not mean that the problem does not exist. He also clarified that he's not referring to individual white people when he speaks of white monopoly capital.
We must not make a mistake of abandoning the struggle for economic emancipation because of irritations. We must remain focused in fighting white monopoly capital and in transforming the economy to benefit the majority of our people.
Malema also reminded the audience of his stance on nationalization and issued a warning to investors who do not want to partake in empowerment of the majority of South Africans.
When we say let's nationalize the banks, you say these people are crazy, they don't know what they are talking about. We are bound to be crazy because not even 1% of the banks in South Africa is owned by a black person. What do you do in a situation like that, where people, the bank owners, had an opportunity to transform without anyone forcing them, had an opportunity to transform without anyone expropriating from them? 23 years into democracy, they've never done that. Many people say these investors will go because you are scaring them, they will live with their things. What is the point of having them here if we cannot eat this food? We can only smell the food. We have no access to this meal. The bosses are eating alone. The bosses must begin to eat with their people. Otherwise, they can take their food and go, because this food is not benefiting anyone here. We are only eating the crumbs that fall from the table. And that's what we black people are fighting over.
Earlier, speaking in exclusive interviews to ANN7, both President Jacob Zuma and Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma have highlighted the role of white monopoly capital in the South African economy.
You have got companies today that are basically white. They start from the biggest commodities to the broom. Their names are written there. They are monopolizing every space of the economy. It's a fact. They are monopolies. I don't know why shouldn't they be called by what they practice. And I don't know why there's a debate, in fact. Because there is a monopoly capital, and in South Africa it is white.
I'm not surprised that white monopoly capital is not endorsing me. I'm not surprised. I would have been surprised if they had endorsed me. We cannot be told our people must be poor forever because investors will not come.
The Supreme Court of Appeal has sentenced Oscar Pistorius to 13 years and 5 months. In the month of July last year, the Pretoria High Court sentenced the former Paralympic athlete to 6 years imprisonment for the murder of his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp. Pistorius shot his girlfriend dead in the early hours of Valentine's Day in 2013 when he fired 4 times through the door of his toilet, an act he says that came from mistaking her for a burglar. Pistorius was originally convicted of culpable homicide in 2014, but the SCA upgraded his conviction to murder in 2015.
We welcome the decision of the Supreme Court of Appeal as it indicates our long-held view that the Pretoria High Court misdirected itself in handing down a 6-year sentence. We believe that the